Hello and welcome back to the Daily Basketball Recap Podcast, Season Recap Edition. We got a big one today because with all other teams, I can safely say this, every team that we recap has not had a success like the team that we're about to talk about. This is the OKC Thunder episode. Levy is peeing his pants because he has been waiting to be able to talk about this, and especially with our esteemed guest, Clemente Almanza, who is the managing editor for the Thunder Wire, co-host of the B-Town B-Down podcast. We're going to be linking all of this stuff in the description, but Clemente, means a lot to have you come on. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, for sure, guys. Super dope coming on. Super dope talking about championship team as well. It's been a pretty hectic last week here in OKC, and just super excited to hop on another podcast and talk about it.
Yeah, we're super excited, and I'm going to very briefly give some general overview. For those that don't know, the Thunder won the championship, so we'll start with that. But just some other things of just how dominant this season was. Thunder were fourth in the league in points per game, third in defensive points per game, number one in point differential by a wide margin. They had the best record in the NBA. They had the MVP. They had two players on all defensive teams, two players on all NBA teams. This is one of the most dominant seasons I have ever seen. So we can joke around with every other team of what's the letter grade. Of course, the letter grade here is an A+, but we'll hear both from Clemente and Levy, but starting Clemente from you. What happened this season? How did this all come together? How did this work so perfectly? And this is like the most happy, jovial team. Like, what happened this year?
Yeah, I think you got to start with just Shai. Shai, like you mentioned, won MVP, had one of the best individual seasons ever, one of the most efficient 30-plus point per game scoring campaigns ever by a guard. And like I said, he just had one of the greatest seasons ever from an individual level. MVP, Finals MVP, All NBA first team. Really, the only thing missing from his resume was the NBA Cup. But it starts and stops with Shai here in OKC. The fact that he's kind of ascended into being one of the best players in the league right now, and probably ever when it's all said and done, has really catapulted this team to being a championship winner. So his ascension is really, put OKC where it's at. And obviously Jalen Williams also has had a similar career trajectory where, he was coming out of a small school, Santa Clara, wasn't on a ton of people's draft boards for most of the year. And then, the Thunder took him 12th overall. And he's also ascended to the point where he's an All-NBA guy, made his first All-Star team this year as well. One of the best, 25 players in the league, I'd say. Got some Scottie Pippen comparisons during the finals as well. So while not as drastic as Shai's development to one of the best players in the league, J-Dub's development to one of the top 25 guys in the league has also helped. Chet, one of the best defenders in the league, one of the best rim protectors, really showed out there. The deeper the Thunder went into the playoffs, especially on the defensive end. And Daigenault, that's another success story in itself. He says this all the time. If he replayed his life 100 times, he would only be an NBA coach just in one simulation. He was thinking about being a teacher at one point, a professor. So the fact that the Thunder and Sam Presti kind of eyed Daigenault from Florida and Billy Donovan's staff, brought him over to the organization, let him develop as a head coach in the G League for 5-6 years, and have 1 year on Billy's staff as an assistant before he left for the Bulls, and eventually become a household name where he won Coach of the Year last year, and now he's one of the universally seen as one of the best coaches in the league. So those four guys are the pillars of the team. Of course, there's Sam Presti as well, one of the best GMs in the league, and now he's got a title to really prove that point. But that group of guys, Shai, J-Dub, Chet, Mark, Sam, those five guys are the face of this franchise. They're all on the same page. And that's really the most important thing you can look for as an NBA franchise, is for your GM, coach, and franchise player to all be on the same page, have really good synergy. And that's been the case for OKC for years. And now this year, people have kind of realized that, since, they've been on TV a lot more and they just won a title.
Yeah, I want to double down on that point also with Mark Daigenault. is that like realistically speaking, all those years with Scott Brooks and Billy Donovan, with my heart palpitating, being like, what are we calling here? Like, what's going on? Mark Daigenault, like, he's it makes me a lot better to know that he's in the driver's seat, making sure that everybody's, in the right place. Of course, the players are doing that themselves. There's a lot of intelligent basketball going on out there, but it makes me feel a lot better seeing that in real time.
Yeah, I mean, with Mark, like, if you ask any NBA person in the league, like, having a good relationship with your players is almost as valuable as like being an X's and O's guru. And I mean, Mark's got that down to a T. I mean, him and Shea have really been tied to the hip together with their ascension in their respective careers. Same with Chet and J Dub. The Thunder really nailed, hiring Mark, and I really think this is gonna be like a Eric Spoelstra, Greg Popovich situation, Steve Kerr situation where I mean he can be the head coach here as long as he wants to be.
It's awesome. It's one of the things that you mentioned it before, building the relationship with players. The thing that I've seen with this team that maybe I haven't seen since the Spurs is just everyone loves each other. Like they're the happiest team in the world. You see the post game interviews where they're putting the towels on everybody, and they're even putting it on the reporter, and the reporter's having fun with it, and like it's just everyone's having a good time. They're all connected with each other. Alex Caruso's like the dad of the team, and he's like not even 30, and it's just like the team built such a chemistry. And I gotta assume it has to start from the top down, but with Shea and Jalen Williams, it's almost like this combination fits so well, and there's such a clear understanding of like whose role is what, that there's never an ego thing with this team. It's unbelievable.
No, yeah. And I'm sure it's very intentional as well. Like Sam, every year in his draft presser, he always mentions that the Thunder draft people over players. And as I guess cliche or corny as that might sound, I mean, you've seen kind of the fruits of that with this team where, like you said, everybody knows their role. That hasn't always been the case in OKC. I mean, the Durant Westbrook teams, like there's definitely some, I guess, tension. I want to say
Dion
tension.
Waiters.
Yeah, DIY, but definitely guys trying to get more than what they were getting. But I mean, with this team, everybody kind of understands their role. It helps that a lot of the roster is made up of guys who are undrafted free agents, second round guys as well, where they have to like really work to get to the spot and carve out an NBA career. So they have that perspective and understand that for the betterment of themselves and for the team, they know what role that they need to play for the Thunder to eventually win a title. So yeah, like I said, like everybody definitely understands where they're at, I guess, in the pecking order of things. And Shea does a really good job of just kind of, I guess, leading that by example throughout the years. And you saw that kind of blossom into a championship now, and now you're seeing teams around the league trying to, I guess, trying to like copy that formula as well, and we'll see if it actually materializes. But that said, like that's still one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen. Like anytime you look at this team's statistical profile, like it's in the same group as like the '90s Bulls or the 2010s Warriors or the '70s Bucks. Like this, like whenever you talk about the greatest teams of all time, you got to include the '25 Thunder.
Yeah. I want to give you guys an opportunity here because I'm not a Thunder fan. I'm not a Thunder hater. I'm just not a Thunder fan. What do you say to all the people out there that are saying it's with an asterisk? Tyrese Halliburton got injured in Game 7, and like who knows what would have happened. The most dominant team of all time is going to Game 7 in multiple series, and maybe they didn't look as dominant as people thought. What you see on paper, what you see in the games, and all these different things, people have all their opinions. I wanna give it to the two of you, of two diehard Thunder fans. And Clemente, we'll start with you. Just what do you say to these people?
I think if you want to put an asterisk, you can put an asterisk to any championship. Really, like in sports, you need to be as lucky as talent, and you need as much luck as talent to win a title. Like you see it every year in every league in sports, and you know, did Halliburton's injury kind of help out of the Thunder to win. I mean, sure, of course. But at the same time, like you can do the same thing with any other NBA champion that received some injury luck along the way. I mean, the Pacers themselves were kind of the benefactor of that as well, with Damian Lillard tearing his Achilles, the Cavs having all those injuries as well. They didn't face the Celtics, but the Celtics as well whenever Tatum tore his Achilles as well. So if people want to like criticize the team, I guess the best way they can do is just say, um, they received some luck on the way, which is true. But at the same time, like we also saw the Thunder blow teams out all the time in the playoffs, at home especially. And while they weren't as dominant in in the playoffs as they were in the regular season, that kind of comes with that type of environment. Like you're not gonna cruise your way to a title either. You're gonna have to get some battle scores as well, and you definitely saw that in the Denver and Indiana series. But I don't know. I mean, if people are gonna be haters, they're gonna be haters regardless. They'll find something to hate on. And if they want to put an asterisk on it, like sure, whatever. They could do the same thing with every other champion that's ever won a championship in sports.
Yeah.
I would actually answer this question by answering the letter grade, which I didn't get to do. I would say that the team performance for me actually is closer to an A than an A+. The reason why is because I don't think that this is the top of their range. I think that this team is so perfectly built to be able to achieve so much higher than this. Like really, really be able to show. And they came out of the gate and they put on a pretty dominant performance throughout the majority of the playoffs. And I think that they have such an ability to do that repeatedly on a higher level. And in regards to the asterisk, as you're saying, right, luck plays a role with everything. Every single team's success, obviously, in some part, luck gets in there. But in regards to this team, I would also say it wasn't like Tyrese wasn't hurt throughout other series along the way. It wasn't like the Thunder didn't show you that each time a team zagged, they knew how to zig. Like that, I will forever go back to the Caruso defense on Jokic to just prove how incredibly versatile this defense could be. It totally blew me away as I was watching it in real time. I was like, how is this happening as a team that were like so dynamically able to defend Jokic? I really think that any other team that the Thunder went up against in this run would have given so many other teams a run for their money as well. And they did in their own series, right? They won their own series. So I really, really think that people can say whatever they want to say, like you're saying. But I just, when it comes down to it, I mean, we're going to be able to see it in future years as well, in terms of the makeup of the team going up against other talent. I just don't, if you're being real with yourselves, I don't think you can argue it.
So, Living, let me ask you this. Your A instead of an A+, as we're being very nitpicky, this is because they're not like the Warriors where they stomp through everybody? That's why they're not getting the plus?
No. I think that they were as dominant as they needed to be. I think that there's just like, with this team, they're so far above or ahead of everybody else, but they have room to grow, right? Like if they have more consistent 3-point shooting, that that's going to bring up the letter grade a little bit, at least. Like if the role players are able to really, really help out more dynamically, if J-Dub can get more shots up from Scottie Pippen himself again, things like that. Like they're really, really they're so talented, and I can't wait to see next year how much more talented they are and how much more people are like, okay, I don't know, I can't do anything with this season. Like they're just good.
So we're gonna get into some of the future of OKC and what's going to happen this offseason and moving forward. Still focusing on this past year for a second, because this is a year for the ages. We'll go around. Biggest moment from the year. Could be positive, could be negative. I wanna pick your brains. For me, one of the biggest things that I saw was when Chet got hurt, that this team did not skip a beat, and if anything was playing almost like, not better, but the record without him was 42-8. The record with him was 26-6. It was just like, you take out this massive piece from the team, and they're still dominant. Helps that you have Hartenstein and all these other guys, but the point is that to me was like the biggest moment. And it's funny to say, like, when you take the record, that's the biggest moment. But the moment of seeing that you can succeed even without Chet was something where it was like, wow, this team is something else. But for you guys, biggest moment, positive or negative, that really just like changed the course of the season, what would you guys say?
Yeah, I think this might be recency bias a little bit, but that game 4, fourth quarter by Shea, where OKC, went to Indiana, uh, got the game free. They were down 2-1. After the first quarter, I think they were down by like 10 points or double digit points against the Pacers, on the road as well. Super loud environment. And you were faced with the possibility of being down 3-1 to the Pacers and basically the series being over. Um, and for Shea to, step up, put on his Superman cape and score 15 points in the fourth by himself, hit that baseline jumper against Aaron Nesmith to give OKC the lead. I mean, that was the moment of the scene. That was the biggest quarter of Shea's career. That was the biggest quarter of the Thunder's franchise history up to that point. And for the Thunder to get a win in a game where they just flat out didn't deserve to win. I mean, they had like a C- game for me that game where they weren't shooting the ball well. They really didn't shoot the ball at all well the whole playoffs. I think they were like below average from free the whole playoffs, which makes their championship run even more, I guess, amazing from that perspective. But for them to kind of get a win in a game where it looked like they were going to lose for 3/4 of the way through because Shea, played superhero, scoring 15 in the fourth by himself. I mean, that was huge, especially since you managed to tie the series back up in 2-2, get back home court advantage as well, and then eventually win the series. But that fourth quarter in Game 4 was probably the biggest swing quarter of the whole NBA Finals against the Pacers, and the Thunder ended up obviously winning the championship. But I really think that fourth quarter, whoever won that fourth quarter, whoever won that game was going to end up being the champion, and that turned out to be the case.
Huge performance.
Max, also to refute your point from earlier, not to be that guy, while Chet was out, Hartenstein was in for a majority of the time. While Chet was in during the regular season, Hartenstein was out for a majority of the time. So, other variables go into it.
Sure.
My favorite moment, though, was honestly Game 5 against the Timberwolves. I loved it. I thought everyone thought that they were going to, okay, it's going to go back and forth. It's going to, nope. Very definitively, we are the better team. And that was just after Game 4 when Ant came out and he said, I played the right way, right? Like I was making the right looks, I was making the right passes, and we actually mentioned this in the podcast, I guess, a couple weeks ago now, months ago, who knows anymore. It gave me a really great appreciation for the OKC defense because he was making the right plays, because the defense was so tight on him that he had such a struggle being able to follow through with anything, that the right move was removing himself from the offense. So I really, really, I love that game. It was great. It was exactly what makes them them,
Who would you say is the most underrated player on this roster team, on this Thunder team?
I mean, I think I got to go Cason Wallace, man. Like, it's just crazy just how great of a defender he is. He kind of gets lost in the shuffle just because Lou Dort and Alex Caruso are his teammates, and those two guys are known as some of the best defenders in the league. But I think Cason Wallace is right up there. Like, I mean, when it comes down to it, he gets assigned to defend the opposing team's best players at times. They have no problem letting him, go after Halliburton in the finals or Nembhard as well. But I really like Cason, only 21 years old, one of the best POA defenders in the league, I think. And then offensively, like he's still kind of growing there. Could be good outside shooter. Like his shooting numbers weren't great this year, but I'm still betting that he'll turn out to be a really good outside shooter. He showed a lot more off the dribble as well. Really great transition threat. Underrated athlete as well. Like some of his posters and dunks were crazy, especially I think he like posterized Jokic there in the playoffs as well. But I really like Cason. I really think he's going to be a long-term starter here as well. I really think eventually he's going to take Lou Dort's spot on this team as a starter. But I really think Cason's probably the most underrated guy on this team, and I just don't think he gets enough, I guess, coverage or whatever, just because of the fact that he's teammates with guys like Lou Dort and Alex Caruso.
And he's how old? He's 21?
Yeah, he's 21.
He's nuts. He's nuts, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I mean that's it's just crazy how deep this team is, man.